Welcome to Footy Centre podcast series. Welcome to Footy Centre podcast series.
Hello and welcome to another edition of FC Pitchside podcast with me, Thierry Nyan. And in this particular episode, FIFA Club World Cup starts in the United States of America with fireworks stalemates and 10-goal thrillers. We'll also be discussing transfers with teams dishing out 150 million for a player. We'll look at that, if it's worth it or not, including several other transfers. We'll also be diving into some managerial movements, across Europe, especially Tottenham Hotspur. And also, we'll make time to crown a new king, or maybe a luta continua for Sicho Trim in our player zigzag game at the end of the show. Stay with us wherever you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Let's go. Once again, my name is Thierry Nyan. And remember, you can always leave, your comments on all those platforms you are listening to us from. And remember, please subscribe to our channels and also leave a very good rating. We'll say a big thank you at the end of the show. But again, let me introduce my guest, and then we begin the conversation. I've been joined by Jonathan Mensah. Jonathan, how are you doing? And how's your weekend?
I'm doing well, and my week went well, and my weekend is going smooth as well.
Good. Sicho, you're welcome also. How are you, and how's your weekend going?
Yeah, weekend is good, and I'm fine, and looking forward to the pod today. So let's go.
All right, so the guys are ready. I'm ready as well. Hopefully you're ready to consume every bit we are about to serve you, on today's episode. But guys, I think it's just right that we start with the FIFA Club World Cup because of everything that's happening there. Now, a comment from Ishmael Amonu from last week says, interesting thoughts from the pundits. Enjoying it as always. Thank you very much, Ishmael, for that particular comment. Again, I, encourage you to just send your messages through. We would like to hear from you, wherever you're listening to this from or watching us from. But in today's hot topic, we are looking at the FIFA Club World Cup and all the issues around it. Now, it's starting, or it started yesterday, on Saturday, and now we are recording this on Sunday, that is the 15th of June, so just take note of that. But it started, we've got a few games already underway, and we just want to know, before we get into the games itself, our hot topic for today is the Club World Cup actually needed, or is it just for the money? Because we know that FIFA has promised a huge increase in the winner's prize, in how much the winner or the winning club is going to be taking away. Is this all about the money for FIFA, or is there actually something meaningful to this? I'll start with you, Sicho.
Well, look, for FIFA,
right?
It's about power, and it's about, of course, the money. And the reason why I say it's about power mainly is, UEFA and FIFA have not been in a good place for a very long time now. And UEFA has become a lot more powerful than FIFA because UEFA makes more money than FIFA. And the way UEFA makes money is by its elite club competition, the Champions League, which has made so much profit that the Europa League is also making profit. And then the Euros. The Euros make so much money that they've been able to create the Nations League, which is now self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Now, UEFA are almost behaving like they don't need FIFA because they are the world's number one association, right? Now, FIFA is also looking at themselves and thinking, the only time FIFA makes money is after the Men's World Cup. So FIFA makes money every 4 years. And after making the money in the Men's World Cup, they use the profits to organize the Women's World Cup, to organize all the youth competitions, and FIFA is almost back to zero. So FIFA are now thinking through and looking at how else they can make money. So if you remember, they were proposing a 2-year cycle World Cup. So we'll play World Cup this 2 years. And then the count, it didn't quite fly. So instead of playing the World Cup every 2 years, FIFA is now going to play another competition, which is the Club World Cup. So the Club World Cup is also going to generate money for FIFA. And then the World Cup is also going to generate money for FIFA. So FIFA are looking for relevance, for power, and then for money. And then now there's the Club World Cup. The clubs won't suffer because the clubs will make money. It is the players that will suffer because the players would have to be stretched.
Now, Jonathan, I mean, you don't follow the money, so I'm not going to be asking you about the money. To you as a player, there's been a lot of talk about how there's just
Have you
too
seen his
much.
face? Have you seen the face?
There's just
Instead
too
of getting
much.
the follow money.
There's just too much football to be played, lately. Do you think that the increase in competitions and games is affecting the quality of football and footballers as a whole?
I think even if you don't add this Club World Cup, it's always showing already. Some of the players, the top players, will go out, injured for a couple of weeks and even months because of the high volume and the number of games they've been playing. Because when you add a new tournament like the Nations League, now it's going to be a lot on the players, especially the guys that play in Europe. And, to add that to their, especially if you're a big team or a good team, you're going to play in, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, the, Premier League, and wherever you play. So it's a lot of games, and now they add in even more games. So of course it's going to be a lot of demand on the players. But sometimes, as players, when the money is right, we'll just bottle the fatigue and keep going. So, but then later on, it's going to affect the players later on in the season.
But I mean, as a player, would you enjoy playing in the Club World Cup? If your team were in the World Cup, in the Club World Cup, would you enjoy playing? Obviously, you are obligated to play. That's a different question. Would you enjoy playing in it? It's just one of those competitions that, players think like, I'll put in 20% because, I mean, it's nothing.
I think it's a personal opinion, but of course, if your team is in the tournament, you wouldn't want to, sit outside because you're going to be the odd one out. So you would just, be part of the team. And if you're going to play 100%, it's on you. If you're not going to play, then, it's better to have a good conversation with either the coaching staff so that they manage your minutes and then see what they can do for you in this type of tournament.
Sicho, maybe my last question to you is what your expectations are. I mean, we've seen some of the games already. In this tournament, we've seen the quality difference already, without necessarily going into some of the games. But what's your general expectation going into this one?
Well, I think that the big clubs want to win. The big players want to win because it comes with a lot of money. So I'm expecting that going into the latter stages, maybe after the group stages, we'll see a lot more of serious competition. Because and Jonathan would know this. When your team is going to win a trophy, a lot of the time the players are promised a lot of huge bonuses, right? So
Right.
I'm sure some of the players now are also eyeing that huge bonus if they go on and win. So clubs like Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Man City, Juve, Inter Milan, these are clubs that will be eyeing it because look, we are talking about an in excess of 100 million if you go all the way. If the club says that we are going to share 10 million of that 100 million for you, the players who played, that is some summer huge bonus as well. That would be an incentive. See, Jonah is laughing. So even though the players are fatigued and all of that, the clubs will know how to incentivize them. So I'm expecting that going into the knockout stages when the men have been separated from the boys, we're going to see a lot more serious competition because, look, it's almost going to look like mini Champions League. I'm expecting a lot of the European clubs to get into the latter stages anyway. So we are going to have a kind of Champions League in the USA. We are going to see some very competitive, fascinating football.
But Jonah, before we move on, and this is a very quick one, what is the biggest, winning bonus you've ever been promised and received? I didn't see you getting $100,000, but I don't know if that's it.
That wasn't a winning bonus, by the way.
Well,
appearance,
yeah,
bro.
That was an appearance.
Yeah, but he.
Winning bonuses. I mean, I had to bring that up.
I don't want to disclose it, man.
Oh wow! You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me who promised you and whether you won or not. But at least how much?
I think Sicho did. It was 2.5 billion Ghana cedi.
Okay. Where Jonah is going, we need Jonah back. We need Jonah back
City.
to the podcast. I think he fled away from the
No, no, but I'm trying to say I'm not going to disclose it, guys.
podcast. Anyway,
Only
that's fine.
between me and Chicho.
That's fine. We respect that. We respect that. But that'll be all for the opening conversation. Here on FC Pitchside podcast, I've been doing this with Jonathan and Philip. But we quickly stay on the Club World Cup because now we're moving into the game specific, and we'll be dealing with the first game of the tournament. I don't know what your impressions were, but it was a 0-0 stalemate. That didn't look like a 0-0 if you saw the game. And even if you didn't see the game and you saw the highlights, there's plenty to enjoy, especially in the dying minutes when Inter Miami could have easily won by 2-0, if not for serious goalkeeper heroics by the Alali goalkeeper. Sisho, let me start with you. A good scoreline to start with, or a good performance to start with, considering the scoreline had no goals?
Yeah, I thought it was an entertaining. It's one of the best 0-0 games you would see anywhere. Normally, when a game is a goalless, it's frustrating because you're like, what happened? They didn't score. But if you saw the game, it was full of action, really, like a lot of good action. So it wasn't that boring 0-0. And we must say the goalkeepers were mastery in that game. Osteri in the post for Inter Miami, and as you know, Aït-Nouri, the Egyptian in post for Ali as well. They were massive. Otherwise, the game could have gone either way. I thought the first half for me belonged to Al Ali. They created a better chance. They could have won the game in that first half. But we saw a better Inter Miami in that second 45 minutes where they looked like they wanted a lot more, but they were denied a couple of times. So yeah, it was an entertaining opening game to the competition. All it lacked was the goals, but not the excitement in the game.
Jonathan, your initial impressions on the Inter Miami game?
Yeah, I think I would agree with the submission Sicho made, because in the US, especially, you don't play a game and then people will be excited after a 0-0 game. So people were like, "Oh, that was entertaining, this and that." And all that. Obviously, a lot of people went out to go see Messi and his team play. And, for a game to be 0-0 and, people were still commenting about it and, oh, it's exciting and, we can't wait for the next games. That shows you that it was a good first game, but obviously, we would have expected some goals. But goalkeepers stood on their heads, and credit to them.
All right. And now let's look at the game that didn't shock anyone, but a scoreline that is always supposed to be shocking anyone or everyone around the world. I'm talking about a 10-0 scoreline by Bayern Munich against Auckland City. Now, that is a kind of result that sort of reminds everybody that probably 32 teams is just too much. Sijo.
Yeah, I would agree. Is it that 32 teams is just too much, or a lot of quality teams are missing out? And I get the balance FIFA wants to create, not necessarily Europeanize the competition, make it a lot more global.
We have to be honest. If it's about quality, then it's just going to be made up of European teams. To be honest, because whatever metric they're using, the European teams would far outweigh any other club around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the truth of the matter, again, is what do football fans want to see? They don't really want to see every team around the world, or they want to see quality football. I think football fans want to see quality football. And so if Europeans have done enough to make themselves as good as we've seen them to be, maybe they deserve more. But another thing too is, how about making it a level playground so that other continents can also develop their football? It's an argument where either side of the coin makes sense, right? But like you said, that is what we saw. The quality of difference. And let's face it, Bayern Munich are not one of the best teams in Europe this season. They are a big team, but in terms of the squad they've got this time and the performances, they've not been vintage in the last couple of seasons. But look at them in the Club World Cup against Auckland City, dispatching them by 10 goals to nil. It was like a training match for them. The only shocking thing is Harry Kane didn't get on the score sheet after Bayern Munich scored 10 goals.
It's
I think
crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
That is the headline of the game rather than even the scoreline, really. But yeah, Thomas Müller, we know he's leaving Bayern, but he got an extension to play the FIFA Club World Cup, and there he was pouring in the goals for Bayern Munich. So yeah, Bayern won't care. They have to beat their opponents, and they beat them fair and good.
So just to run by you who the scorers are, Kingsley Coman got himself on the score sheet twice. Olise as well got himself on the score sheet twice. Thomas Muller got himself on the score sheet once. Boye also got one goal, and that made it a 6-0 first half result for Bayern Munich. The second half produced 4 more goals. Jamal Musiala gets in a hat-trick, and then Thomas Muller adding a second of the game, as we already reiterated that Harry Kane was not on the score sheet in such a thrilling match. But Jonathan Mensah, let me just pick your thoughts on this one, because I mean this was as big a mismatch as it can be.
Yeah, like Cicho said, it was like a training game, and they just wanted to, finish the game, get ready for the next game. Because if you watch the game, it was like a walk in the park. So, like Cicho said, FIFA want to include, teams from different continents, to make it fun for people. Someone is from, let's say, Brazil, and, lives in the US or wherever the tournament is being hosted. They want to see their team from Brazil play, when they come to town. So it's a good thing they involving everyone.
Yeah, and also just remember that most of Auckland City's squad is made up of players who balance their footballing commitments with full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So again, no matter how you want to find a good balance, it's not going to work for some of these games. Auckland City goalkeeper, actually, Connor Tracy, works in a warehouse as a pharmaceutical for a pharmaceutical company in New Zealand. And also, Bayern Munich squad is worth over 166 times more than Auckland City's squad. So that's just some interesting facts there to you, just to let you know how this was a mismatch. I don't know if San Jose Earthquakes or Columbus Crew or New England Revolution would have done better. Jonathan, quickly, would they have done better?
Wait, I want to ask Jonathan something.
Will your teams have done better, Jonathan?
Oh my God, bro! This is not even a question, bro. You just mentioned someone is working part-time and playing football on the side.
Yeah.
These are the Columbus Crew team currently. Very good team, very good team with the new coach, new system, and the way they're playing is, they're playing a great football. So, but we don't want to talk about,
Of course. Let's move on.
Terry,
there was another game. Quick. Yeah.
I want to ask Jonathan this one quickly. What's the heaviest defeats you've played in that your team has suffered? And how did you cope with that as a defender? Because they are conceding 10 goals. And
club side?
Yeah, club side.
Yeah, club side, yeah.
Club side, I would say 5-1.
Ooh.
5-1 isn't bad. 5-1 is okay. I mean, Chelsea and Arsenal and all these Man Uniteds concede 5, so that's fine.
Taking 7-7 and
yeah, I mean, that's fine.
10-0.
10-0, no, that's total humiliation.
I'm wondering how you stay locked in the game, Right.
Let's move on, guys. For the sake of time. There was another one between Paris Saint-Germain and Atletico Madrid, and PSG proved why they are the European champions. This was by no means a fluke win. They absolutely walloped, Atletico Madrid. Maybe with the exception of Ousmane Dembele, who didn't start this particular game. Everybody else that was a key part of the run-up to the Champions League victory played a key part of this particular one. Luis Enrique is not here to play at Sijo.
Yeah, he's not here to play. I think the PSG they've come into very good form at a very good time for the competition. Let's face it, PSG started playing this brand of football from January, and they've gone on to win the Champions League with it. So you can imagine the level of confidence they have in the team. And in this game against, when they beat Inter Milan in the Champions League final by 5 goals, many said that Inter were poor, Inter were bad. And I looked at that performance and said that performance can beat so many European teams. Like it might not be 5. But if you joke, you take 3 or 4. If you're not lucky, you take more than 5 on a perfect day for them. And a good thing, one thing Enrique will be happy about is, even though the boys have won the treble and have won what PSG desperately wanted in the Champions League,
they still show hunger, right?
Hungry.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just in the same words. They still look like anybody who saw the game would have seen PSG play as if they've not won anything before. They are looking for something precious to them. And I think that is what Luis Enrique will take home.
And not to cut you though, but I think that's a sign of a young team that has won.
Yep.
with
Yep.
with a bit of experience mixed in there. Because what happens is, if this was an aging team, like say if their average age in that squad was like 34 years, and they were chasing after the Champions League and they won it, I'm telling you, the hunger is gone. They've got what they
Absolutely.
want at the end of their careers. But these guys are
Yeah.
starting out, and if they continue like this at the start of the season, they might not win a Champions League again for a consecutive time because it's difficult to do, but they will dominate football for a long time. Not
Yeah.
just in
And I
France,
think
but across Europe.
Yeah, and I think that's what Luis Enrique will be hammering into the minds of these boys. That look, we've got something special in this group. We could achieve something nobody has achieved before. So let's give it our best. And it's against Atletico Madrid. They defend well on a good day, but today they got 4 goals past them without conceding. So yeah, very good start to the competition for PSG, who are, in my opinion, one of the favorites, if not the favorite of the competition.
Hey, Sicho, your Inter Milan is still there. Charlie Jonathan, tell him something. His Inter Milan is still in the competition. Anyway, Jonathan.
PSG have baptized me. PSG have baptized me. They baptized me.
Come on.
No, PSG really showed the Sicho something. So
Yeah.
but I am sure Luis Enrique is actually instilling in these guys like what is next. We won the Champions League. Okay, challenging them every day in training. What is next? You're trying to showboat. He's like, no, you know what we're trying to accomplish. So he's always trying to keep the boys on their toes, and you can see from the way they play every game. Like, we win this game, okay, let's recover, rejuvenate, and then go again. Because even today, Atletico is the team that is always counter-pressing teams. Like, you see PSG all over them, overloading them, counter-pressing, and you can see that, okay, we've won the Champions League, we've won the treble, so what is next? Now, this tournament is on the line. What would you do? Would you want to win this tournament as well? The people that won the Club World Cup, PSG is part of them. Oh, my name is on the list. And, he's challenging the boys from the way they're playing. You can see it's always challenging them. What is next? What is next? So beautiful to watch.
I like that. Now, we'll be going for a quick break. But before we do that, there's Chelsea against Los Angeles FC later tomorrow. And maybe it's only Chelsea that can stop PSG, guys. But that's just by the way. I know that's not possible. But let's give a quick prediction. Sicho, you're laughing too much. You better show some respect to Chelsea. But Chelsea against Los Angeles FC. Your predictions on that? I mean,
no,
how do you see that
I think Chelsea will win.
Winning?
I think
Chelsea will win. Chelsea will win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Jonah, I think you are more experienced to say that because you've played in both continents and you know the quality that both teams, present. You know Los Angeles FC more than I will. Mm-hmm. What kind of threat do you think they pose to Chelsea?
They go a little bit going forward on Boanga's side, and then obviously with the experience of Olivier Giroud. And what else? Maybe they will bring a little fight, but Chelsea is more experienced team. They coming off of winning the Conference League. With a little confidence and all that. And LAFC on the other hand, they played a knockout game to get into this tournament. So it's a win-win situation for them. Nothing to lose. They're just having fun. But hopefully they can put up a good fight.
All right, now we'll be going for a quick
break.
break.
Jonah, do you speak French?
So I told you when what's his name? Boafu.
John Boafu.
Yeah.
What's his name? Yeah. I played in France for 5 years, so of course I do speak French.
Do you know why? I asked that? Yeah. Do you know why I asked that? Because of the way he mentioned
I do. Because of the way I mentioned
the way he mentioned Giroud. Thank you. It's very French. Olivier Giroud. Olivier Giroud.
No, because you don't pronounce the D because people are Giroud.
Giroud. Olivier Giroud. That's French. Bro, that's French.
Yes, please.
Very soon we are going to be having a French podcast that Jonathan is going to be hosting. And the intro will be Je m'appelle Jonathan, ça va, très bien. Anyway, we'll be going for a quick commercial break. This is FC Pitchside podcast with me, Theo Nyan, Jonathan Mensah, and Philip Sichua Trim. If you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, please leave your comments, like the video, and subscribe to our channels. Of course, leave a comment.
Send your questions to Sichua.
Send your questions. We want to respond to the questions. We'll be right back discussing transfers, and then we might just be discussing Ghana football for just a bit. Stay with us.
This is the FC Pitchside podcast, the first in an exciting lineup of podcasts by Footy Centre. Footy Centre is where you'd read your intriguing opinions and daily stories about football. From Europe's biggest leagues, the Champions League, international matches, and for Ghanaian fans, get closer to your favorite national teams.
Welcome back to FC Pitchside podcast with me, Theo. Let's get into the transfers now. And the biggest news or the biggest story in the last few days has been Liverpool's chase of Florian Wirtz from the Bundesliga. And it was just confirmed a couple of days ago. It's 150 million that's been signed, sealed, and almost delivered in Anfield. What does this mean to the Premier League and what does this mean to Liverpool? My guys here will be breaking it down, and of course we'll talk about a few other transfers. But let me start with Sicho on the Wirtz situation. Is this a great, it's big, huge amount, but does the money warrant the quality that Wirtz could potentially display in the Premier League?
Look, okay, so there are perspectives to look at this from, right? I think Wirtz is, to begin with, Florian Wirtz is a quality footballer. Like,
right.
He's one of, he and Jamal Musiala are two of Germany's most prized youngsters now. Like, Germany thinks of them as the next big stars for the German national team. So in Germany, they are highly rated. And it's because of the way Germans rate
they're not even the next big stars. They are the stars for today. They are not the next big stars. They are the stars for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. In fact, they are the holders of the team as we speak, right?
Exactly.
And the Germans rate him so highly, and so that the way they rate him and the way they price him in Germany is probably very different from how the rest of Europe thinks about him. But back home, he's a big star, and it's Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen sell very well. If you remember how they sold Kai Havertz. If you remember how the likes of Ballack left and all the controversy around it. Yeah. Bayer Leverkusen don't just sell, like they know how to sell players. So I'm not surprised that coming from Bayer Leverkusen, that is the amount of money, even though I still think it's slightly on the high. I think anything shy of 100,
the amount can buy the club, to be honest. I mean, if any billionaire wanted to buy Leverkusen, they probably just have to top up a little and they can buy the whole club.
Yeah, so yeah, because if you think about it, the Chelsea women's team was a little over 200 million.
Right.
When the Clearlake group were trying to buy it for themselves, it was a little over 200 million. Yeah. And Florian Wirtz is going reportedly around 150 million euros. Right? It could be 120 million pounds, 122 million pounds. But yeah, I think that the money is maybe on the high, but that is the market. And Liverpool, though, have got a very good player on their hand. How Arne Slot is going to deploy him remains to be seen. Want to see how he deploys him alongside McAllister, Gravenberch, at times Szoboszlai, and where Florian Wirtz is going to play.
I think the player that misses out here will be Szoboszlai, considering that Wirtz is a typical 10. Salah is untouched, and of course on the left he's not a typical winger. So on the left is going to be Diaz. They've got Gakpo over there as well. Of course, up front they're looking for a striker, but as we speak, it's Darwin Núñez who is going to be manning that particular spot. And of course, he cannot play in a deeper role considering there is Gravenberch and there is also McAllister. So it looks like Szoboszlai will be the man to suffer a little bit, unless Szoboszlai is deployed deeper alongside Gravenberch and McAllister drops out, because between those two players, one of them is going to have to sacrifice for Wirtz.
The other thing that I was thinking about is something I had seen Arne Slot do in Eredivisie, where he could play a diamond midfield and get the width from his fullbacks. So maybe this season in some games, we might not see Mohamed Salah start as a typical winger, but Salah could go very narrow alongside maybe a Luis Diaz, and then
Right.
Luis Diaz Salah maybe could be very much up top. They could have Florian Wirtz, Soboslai, McAllister, and then Gravenberg. Then if they sign Milos Kerkez and they've got Jeremy Frimpong, they will provide the width down the flank,
And they are
and
capable
then
of
be
doing
going,
that.
bumping and coming in. And they are capable of doing that. So I think it gives a certain level of flexibility to be able to try a couple of things. But look, it's a quality signing. And who wouldn't want a player like Soboslai on their bench? Look, if you've got Soboslai on your bench and you throw him on after 70 minutes to give you something special, that is quite a good squad.
Exactly. Just like Chelsea have Romeo Lavia on the bench and can throw him on anytime they want. Anyway, Jonathan.
The way you find a way of throwing Chelsea in.
All the time.
He does that all the time. It's an easy reference considering the quality Chelsea have. It's an easy reference.
He does that all the time.
It's
he
an
was
easy
the
reference.
same person that was crying, "Oh, my team, Conference League."
Jonathan. Anyway, Jonathan.
Which one, Jonathan?
Your take on Wirtz to Liverpool? I mean, it's smashing the British transfer record. Going past Moise Caicedo. What are you expecting of this guy?
So when the price tag is this high, a lot will be expected of him.
Most definitely.
Just like Caicedo. So, and he's still young as well, but he's a winner though. He's a winner. Leverkusen hasn't won in forever, and then he helped them win, the league and I believe the cup as well. So a lot is on his plate right now, but Arne Slot is a good coach, and he's going to find ways to, plug in the guys that he's bringing in. I don't know what system they're going to play, if they're going to stick with the 4-back or they're going to tweak the system a little bit. But he's a quality player, and they are obviously going to find a way to fit him in the team.
Right. So now let's move on then. Let's go straight to the other person. And Sicho, you already mentioned Andy Robertson. So quickly, what's your take on him going to join Atletico Madrid, because they have made him a top transfer target to signing up from Liverpool? You think there's a good one?
It's a typical Atletico Madrid kind of signing. I think he will fit them well. He has the temperament and the character. A very willing fighter, very good quality player on the ball. Offensively, he's great. Last season, he wasn't the greatest in terms of defensive-wise. I thought his age started showing on him a little bit. One of the positions where you can't cheat age is the fullback position.
Yeah, you
right?
Definitely.
Especially if you're.
A few players have cheated the age. To be honest, we saw Cafu do it. We've seen quite a number of them do it, but some have failed. Maicon failed. A few of the fullbacks have really failed. But Ashley Cole never failed anyway. The
only league that keeps you playing that position in your old age could be maybe in the Serie A. I don't know how they do it. Like I spoke about their fitness and everything they do. Because Cafu did it. We saw a couple of players. When Evra was done in Man United.
How do you know they watch you?
But he knows it's true.
No, I know. I know. Say Italy league, like the Italian league, someone like Zanetti played till 40 years old.
Yeah.
So the fullback with big thighs.
So even Christian Kivu. And they have all these other guys that have also, even recently, what's the Italian guy for Inter Milan? Bring yourself. Anyway.
Damian.
Yeah, Damian.
No,
Damian.
Yeah, even when Evra was done at Man United, we thought Evra was done. Evra went to Juventus.
He still went to Juve,
and had a very good career there with Juve. Won the league, was in Champions League final, blah blah blah, and all of that. So I think that it makes sense for Atletico Madrid. But for me, I was wondering if Liverpool would rather see Tsimikas leave and keep Robertson, because I still think Robertson is a very good player. And if you've got Robertson and Milos Kerkez fighting for the left back position, it could be. But maybe Robertson doesn't see himself as a second choice left back in the club when he can go to another team where he's guaranteed a starting place. So that could be it. I think it's a fine signing for Atletico Madrid. It will be a big miss, in my opinion, for Liverpool. But of course, Milos Kerkez coming in if they sign him, and that is also a very good signing.
But Jonathan, what do you think about Antoine Semenyo attracting interest from Manchester United and Spurs? If he had the option, where should he go? And are these two teams the best that he can move to, considering where Bournemouth finished and where Man United and Spurs finished last season? Is that even something to think about, considering they are bigger teams? Anyway, focus, Antoine Semenyo.
they're two bigger teams than Bournemouth, but Bournemouth were finished higher than they did. But money is going to increase expectations, and the eye is going to be on him. And of course, these two teams are looking to improve. So he played well last season. So adding him to your roster will definitely boost your team. So, but of course, it's going to come from Semenyo himself. He's probably talking to his family, his agents, and all that, working the best deal for him and his family. So, but as a Ghanaian, I would prefer him to go to Manchester United because we haven't had a Ghanaian there in what, forever.
Yeah.
Menu, but he's.
We've never.
I mean, he's not.
English.
Yeah,
He's not.
We've never, right?
We've never had him
Yeah.
a Ghanaian
Never.
player at Manchester United.
Right.
No.
So it would be
It'd
nice.
be good for the
It
Man
would be
United
nice.
fan base in Ghana, though. I mean, it's quite a lot of.
Yeah. So we'll see. But of course, it needs to make sense to him.
Yeah, of course, for the
Yeah.
player, and of course, for both parties.
But
One transfer that makes sense for Manchester United is Cunha, and his deal has been
Cunha.
signed. He says he wants to elevate
Wolves.
Manchester United back to winning things. Sisho, you're a Man United fan.
Thierry,
You see him, yeah.
Can I weigh in a little bit on the Semenyo thing?
Okay, quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, I mean, obviously, because we are Ghanaians, we would love him to play in a bigger club, Man
Bigger
United,
club.
eyeballs and everything. But for Semenyo, I would want to see him at Spurs because of the manager who is going to Spurs, Thomas Frank.
Right.
Okay.
And I draw a lot of similarities between Semenyo's style of play and Bruyne Mbeumo's
Frank.
style of play.
And they
Yes.
want him.
Okay.
And when you look at what Thomas Frank was able to do with Bruyne Mbeumo, the way he improved him in front of goal, the way he improved his hold-up play, coming in from the position where Semenyo can play and coming in, getting goals, getting assists, him and Wissa. I'm just imagining, Thomas Frank working with Antoine Semenyo. He has the physicality, he has the pace. He's shown he can score. Can Frank improve him? Because at Man United, it's very unsettled. And if Semenyo is quality, would we want him to go into that unsettled team and become the latest victim of a failed signing? I would say, go to Thomas Frank, play in the Champions League with Spurs, get that exposure. After 2 years, Semenyo could be headed anywhere because I think it's very quality.
All right, but we all know
Good
that
perspective,
has
though.
moved to Manchester United. That deal is signed. Manchester United are also set to battle Chelsea and Liverpool for Ekitike. Now, I mean, again, I'm not being derogatory against Man United, but
Ekitike is
in
not leaving
Manchester
anywhere.
United's current circumstances, I don't know how a player chooses Man United over, especially Liverpool and Chelsea, considering that they offer European football. As we've
You
seen,
plug in Chelsea again.
Gyökeres, because Chelsea are in the Champions League.
No.
As we've seen,
Nyama plugged in
Gyökeres
Chelsea.
now over Man United, because I think for the immediate ambitions for any player, they want to play in the Champions League, especially when they weigh themselves and think they belong to the big boys on a big platform. But this is also another one that has surfaced. Ekitike, do you think he fits in a Man United situation?
I think it does fit in, but he might not necessarily be the player they are looking for. I think one thing Man United must realize is they can't afford to sign and miss. They must sign and hit. And that is one thing that has helped Liverpool throughout Jurgen Klopp's era. When Liverpool signed players, they were rarely misses. So Firmino, Salah, Mane were hits. Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Henderson were hits. Van Dijk, Alisson, Robertson were hits. Liverpool, Naby Keita didn't quite work, but 80% of their signing were hits. And that is how, when you want to rebuild a team, you sign players. So bring him, and for example now, classic example now in the Premier League now, everybody will remember this. It's Newcastle United. Since the takeover happened, every player they've brought in is a hit. Trippier was a hit. Isak is a hit. Bruno Guimaraes is a hit. Botman is a hit. Like, name it. Everybody who comes, Anthony Gordon is a hit for them. So Man United can't afford to bring in a player like Ekitike who can't guarantee. He's a good footballer. He will develop and grow. But can he guarantee them the goals they are missing? Because if
Answer your question, Sisho. Do you think he can?
It's difficult to answer because we saw a player like Isak come to Newcastle. At the time, we didn't think he was prolific. But look at what he's turned into. So it all has to come down to the manager. Can the manager turn Ekitike into a prolific striker?
True.
Can the team's environment and system? Because he has the raw talent. He has the ability. Nobody can question the ability he's got. but can he deliver it on a consistent basis? That is where maybe the question marks would be. It's a difficult one. I like him, but was he good enough for Man United? I would never know until he maybe is done or not.
Jonathan, what do you think about Trent officially being unveiled as a Real Madrid player, and not possibly, but because Real Madrid really want to win the Club World Cup? What sort of impact do you think Trent is going to have at Real Madrid, especially starting from this World Cup?
He's a quality fullback, and obviously, he spent his whole life with Liverpool, and we saw, the quality he brought to the team. He won trophies with them, and obviously, it was time to leave. So, but he's going to want to prove a point that he's still, one of the best right backs in the league. One of the best crossers of the ball. So, he gets an early opportunity to show in the Club World Cup. So I'm excited to watch him play in, of course, new colors. So we'll see.
Okay, so I think at this point we'll be summing up with the transfers and be moving on straight to some others. Still in Europe, though, I want us to quickly discuss Thomas Frank going to Tottenham Hotspur, and if you guys think this is going to be a hit or a miss, because we've seen several top managers go to Tottenham Hotspur, like Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, and they all failed. It took Ange for them to win their first trophy in 17 years. Is Thomas Frank going to continue that tradition? Jonathan, I'll start with you.
He's a good Premier League coach, and obviously take the team that he was given, and the way he's transformed some players like the Mbuema, Sicho mentioned earlier. He's a type of manager that is, from what I've seen from afar, he loves to be close to the players. He's an emotional coach. You can sense that in his interviews and all that. So going into a team like Spurs, they just won a trophy, and obviously they didn't do well in the league. They're looking to bounce back and getting few players to sort of like, turn things around for the team. I believe I am banking on him to do well with the team.
Sicho, what's your take? Thomas Frank.
Tough job, tough one. Look, I like Thomas Frank. I think he will be good at the coaching. But as Jonah and you would know, there is coaching the players who've got, and for a club like Spurs, there is recruitment. At Brentford, he had a whole system around him that recruited the players for him. Right? They used massive data to bring in players a lot of us didn't know about, like Wissa, Damsgaard, Mbuemo, all these boys that he's been able to coach well. Would he get the same support system at Spurs? Or would he now have to look into the market and bring in players he wants to use? That is where I think we'll begin to see the other aspect of him, whether he's a coach who is able to recruit quality players and get them to do their job, or he's a coach who is just brilliant on the pitch with the players that he's got. So I have no doubt about his coaching acumen and his abilities, but it's the other aspect that remains to be seen, how he can do that Spurs. But I think it's a signing that I like, and I'm wishing him all the best for Spurs. I think it's a good fit. His personality and the way he coaches, the way he loves to play, I think the Spurs fans will enjoy it.
Isn't it interesting that Brentford are looking for their set-piece coach, Keith Andrews, to replace Thomas Frank? Now, maybe that brings up a whole different conversation about set-piece coaches and just how they are rising in football. We saw that with Arsenal set-piece coach. Nobody knows if he's ever going to replace Mikel Arteta. But at Brentford, a smaller club who do not necessarily have the funds to invest in a top coach, but looking at where Thomas Frank has led them, you'll think that they would at least find a decent coach to replace him, just so they can at least stay afloat in the Premier League. But I was the Jane choice, but I also declined. Coach. So maybe that's a different conversation for another day. But also, Ange Postecoglou would battle for the Al Ahly job with former Barcelona manager Xavi, who would who should be manager Xavi, should head coach Matthias Jesse depart the club. Now, also Liverpool close to appointing Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. The Italian football head coach job is definitely, and that is also very, very interesting. But the biggest story when it comes to international managerial circle is Gennaro Gattuso taking over the Italian head coach job and will be leading them into Italy. Sicho, you follow that, and I just want you to, within 30 seconds, just let me know what your initial take is on Gattuso, because I mean Brazil hiring Ancelotti, England taking on Thomas Tuchel. Do you think Gattuso can be the man to lead them, especially to
That's
glory?
who has barely had it. That's who has barely had a good coaching job, or has barely had coached any team really well since he started coaching. And I like him and I like his personality, but the results are not great. So for him to take an Italian team that doesn't have the talent that he used to have a couple of years ago and try to rebuild a team, that is a huge risk. But again, he wasn't A choice. They didn't get their A choice, the B choice, the C choice, the D choice, the E choice. In fact, he was virtually the P choice that they had to settle with. So it looks like nobody really wanted to come into, because look, the FIGC, the Italian Federation, is in the mess, and I think that's why Ranieri didn't take the job. Mancini said he wasn't going to come back, and several other top quality managers are saying no, we are not interested. They need to fix their house now, Italy.
For anyone who takes over, and of course, some of the people who could have actually led them to glory, like Antonio Conte or whoever it is. I also, focusing on club football at the moment. Now, let's move on from there and we'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be just a little bit on the MTN FA Cup final. Kotoko against Golden Kick. What happened? Who won it? And then we'll move on straight to the games. So stay with us. It's getting more interesting.
This is the FC Pitchside podcast, the first in an exciting lineup of podcasts by Footy Centre. Footy Centre is where you'd read your intriguing opinions and daily stories about football. From Europe's biggest leagues, the Champions League, international matches, and for Ghanaian fans, get closer to your favorite national teams.
Welcome back to FC Pitchside Podcast with me, Thierry, and thank you very much for joining us. Asante Kotoko beat Golden Kicks by 2-1 after a controversial penalty that handed Kotoko their 10th FA Cup title. Sicho, you follow these things closely. How important is this for Kotoko, and what does it mean for them going forward?
No, it's huge. It's huge. And I think that for Kotoko's management, they'll look at their fans and tell their fans that we told you to trust us when we made a decision to let Ogun go and then bring in Zito. And we know Zito is a cup specialist. He's done it with the youth teams in the youth teams of Ghana. He's also done the FA Cup with Dreams FC. And he went all the way to the semis of the CAF Confederation Cup. So he's good with cup competitions. And since he came, to be fair, his performance in the league hasn't also been bad. So Kotoko are happy with that decision. He's ended the season with a trophy. And that is what a club like Kotoko is like. They have to win at all costs. At least they have to win something at the end of the season. It's either the league or the cup. And in the end, this season, they've won the cup. And their fans are going to be happy about it. But the game in itself had a lot of questions about what we've consistently spoken about. Golden Kick were good value for their money. A lower division team coming to play against the mighty Kotoko. They held them until the stoppage time after 90 minutes. Then a terrible referee decision, in my opinion. It's not even controversial. It's just a bad decision by the referee and assistant referee who was close enough to have made the call and held the referee, giving away a penalty. That should never have been a penalty to Kotoko. But Kwame Poku, that was a very, very arrogant, like in a good way, arrogant penalty kick. If you saw the penalty, referee blows the whistle. He turns from the ball, turns again, and then whacks it into the back of the net. And that is after 90 minutes. So you can imagine the pressure. That is a penalty kick that when you miss, you are going into extra time, and when you score, you are winning the FA Cup. Yet he was so cool and so cold, and he scored it brilliantly. So yeah, congratulations to Kotoko. Officiating could be better. Better luck for to Golden Kick the next time.
All right. So that will be how we end today's conversation, unless, Jonathan, you have something to say about the Kotoko FA Cup win. If not, I will move on. Jonathan, do you have anything to say about that?
Obuasi boy is not happy. Obuasi boy is not
Sicho,
happy.
Sicho said it all, so I'm not happy
Obuasi boy,
about
Obuasi boy,
All right,
Obuasi boy, Kotoko Aje Camp.
guys, it's time. It's time. You know what? You know what time it
my
is.
pops. My
It's time.
pops is Kotoko boys, Kotoko man. So
Oh,
well done
great.
to him. Well done to his team.
Brilliant.
It's time. It's time. It's time, guys. It's time. It's time for us to crown the next king. Drum roll, right? Drum roll. Drum roll. Drum roll. It's time for us to
Sicho.
crown the next king of
I beg
Bro.
today. Make you no send the answers. Given.
Okay,
I
okay.
beg you. I dey beg you.
Are you suggesting that you're thinking he'll win already?
Why they sound like you are scared? Relax.
Me
It's
I
just
play for 80,000 front.
You know the fear too. My
I
God.
don't dey fear
My
anything.
God.
You know if you're shaggy. You know if
I
you're
don't dey fear
shaggy.
anything. Wow.
Guys, today the game is player zigzag by popular request. But next week we are
Matter.
going to change it.
Good.
But today is player zigzag. So player zigzag.
Okay.
Best
do it.
player. And we have only
Let's
three,
do it.
as we know. 3 players. Wait, player zigzags, we do 5 or 3.
We do 5.
Do 5.
Hey, Master,
Best of
you.
best of
Two are
no,
against
it's
one.
best of 5.
Producer, send the
Best of
remaining
5.
two.
Best
Yeah,
of 5.
best of 5. Yeah.
Producer, send
Best
the
of
remaining
5,
two right
yeah.
now. Right now. But the first 3. Producer, please don't delay. First, send the remaining 2. But let's quickly do the first.
Oh, he should relax because I'll win the first 3, so you shouldn't worry.
Anyway,
Overconfidence.
the first clap for this player
Overconfidence.
is Leeds United. He started playing his football at Leeds United. He later moved to Swindon Town on loan because he wasn't cracking it at Leeds. And after Swindon Town, he had to move to Newcastle United. If that still doesn't ring a bell, he moved to Aston Villa on loan. Then he joined Aston Villa permanently. After Aston Villa, he decided to join Manchester City. Well, if there's any clue,
Jack Grealish.
No. no, it's not. But I
Milner.
did you say Milner?
Milner.
Yeah, Milner. That's correct. Milner is correct.
Just
Milner
Milner.
is correct.
Milner. Milner.
Milner is
Oh,
correct
bro.
for this one because after Manchester City, he
bro.
joined Liverpool.
Oh,
And after Liverpool, he joined Brighton.
oh, bro.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the second one, guys. This player started his football in a club called Boa Vista. And then after Boa Vista, he joined Fremunde on loan. Maybe it's not a real team. So we move on. He joined FC Porto. And this might ring a bell because after FC Porto, he joined Chelsea.
Christian Achu.
No. After Chelsea, he joined Queen's Park Rangers and then moved to Trabzonspor. Boa Vista, Porto, Chelsea, Queen's Park Rangers, Trabzonspor in Turkey. That's where he ended his career.
Oh, he ended his career?
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever you have, just go with it.
Whoa.
Wow.
I like it. I like the fact that you guys are cracking your brains. I make it too easy today.
From Chelsea to Chelsea to QPR.
Yeah.
No. That's not what he said.
No. He moved from Chelsea to QPR, and then from QPR.
Yeah, from Chelsea to QPR.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Chelsea
So,
to QPR.
it was
From
Boa
Porto
Vista,
to Chelsea.
From Boa Vista to FC Porto. From Porto to Chelsea. From Chelsea to QPR.
Alex.
No, not Alex.
Alex.
Not Alex. Alex played in Benfica, not FC Porto.
Yeah, that's right. QPR. QPR.
This person is from Portugal.
Yes.
Oh, we cannot ask
No, I
questions.
mean, I will give you a few clues here and there since it's dragging. I'll give you a few clues here and there.
Wow.
It's also not Raul Miralles because Raul Miralles play Liverpool.
The way it's dragging, I think I have to maintain the best of the.
Is it Paulo Ferreira?
No.
Boa Vista. Porto.
Oh, hey.
It's
Bozingwa.
Bozingwa. It is Jose Bozingwa.
Bozingwa.
No, Chelsea.
Bozingwa.
It is
Bozingwa.
Bozingwa. So that's 2 points for
Bozingwa.
2 points for Chicho.
2 points for Chicho.
Bozingwa.
Third guy.
Oh, let me wrap it up. Producer, relax for the two. Let me wrap it up.
Third guy.
Producer, make one.
He started his football at Perugia. And then he joined Rangers in Scotland. Then he went to play for Salernitana in Italy. And then he later made his name for AC Milan. Then he later went to Switzerland to end his career at Sion.
He later went where?
Sion in Switzerland. Sion, Sion.
I know Sion.
So Perugia, Rangers, Salernitana, AC Milan. That's where he made his name. Anyone who knows this player knows him in an AC Milan shirt. If that's a good hint for you guys.
Which country is he from? Italian,
Yeah,
yeah?
he's Italian. If it helps, he's a midfielder, or he was a midfielder. You guys know him all too well. He's extremely popular.
He's a coach now.
Gattuso, that's correct.
Gattuso. Because Sion, I know say.
Yeah, Gattuso, that's correct. Gattuso, that is correct.
What I didn't know was the Rangers.
You've given me, the 2 players you've given me are Manchester United players. I don't like it. It's going to be favorable. Please don't give him Manchester United players because he follows that team. So please don't give him Manchester United players.
Producer. See Choka same to far back yeah no Manchester connection. Yeah, same cranny.
The only thing I didn't know about the Gattuso thing was the Rangers part. He started in Rangers.
No, you know starting Rangers. Okay, Perugia, Joe minimum.
Is it Peru? In fact, I didn't know he went to Rangers. Yeah. I now you mentioned Gattuso.
When he said we know him for the AC Milan shirt, I said,
yeah.
Could be that one.
Wow.
Gattuso. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
All right. So let me fetch the next player. The next player is he started his football, guys. He started his football for Ajax. And then after playing for Ajax, he moved to Real Madrid. This guy is so well decorated. Now, after Real Madrid, he moved to Inter Milan.
Wesley Sneijder
is correct. It is Wesley Sneijder. Because after
Come on!
Galatasaray and then to Al Gharafa,
come on!
Retired.
Come on!
So I think
come on!
The producer, the ultimate.
It's a producer. This was a producer.
So that will sum it up for today's Players Exact. But of course, another big congratulations to Philip Sichua Trent for winning the Players Exact. This week we are going to be highlighting the win on social. We're going to be highlighting the win on social media. Anyway, Jonathan Mensah was promising a lot of fireworks, but he couldn't bring us to that party. But
no, there is a thing. The producer.
Maybe producer, yeah, the producer. Producer will try. Producer will try. Producer will try. You
focus.
Investigate producer in pics. Now it's up.
Focus.
It's okay.
Anyway, that will sum up today's episode. My name is Theory, and thank you very much, Jonathan, and of course to Sicho Atrim as well for making this a show. Thank you for viewing this on YouTube, for leaving us your comments and subscribing, of course, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. A big thank you to the production team as well for making this a success. Same time next week. We'll catch you again.
Welcome to Footy Center Podcast Series. Center,